Hey loves, Kim here, and I'm back with another video. So if this is your first time on the channel, I just want to say welcome and thank you so much for watching. And if you like what you see, feel free to hit that subscribe button and be sure to click that bell, that way you never miss an upload from me. And if you're an OG that's been here for a minute, thank you so much for coming back. So we are here with another Sims 4 tutorial video, and on this video I want to focus on the buy mode aspect of build and buy mode, and I want to talk about furnishing homes. Now I would like to preface this video by saying I am not going to tell you how to furnish your homes. And by that I mean I'm not going to tell you what looks good, how you should decorate your home, and what your creativeness when it comes to home decor should look like. However, what I am going to go over is how to navigate the UI of buy mode in The Sims 4, how to filter objects, how to find things more quickly, and how to make it a little bit easier for you when it comes to furnishing your homes. Everyone has their own unique style based on how they grew up, what they've been exposed to, and how their Sims are actually going to use this space. So I think it's very important not to tell you how to create your homes, but to show you how to make finding objects for your particular taste easier in The Sims. So yeah. The first thing I like to always do when I'm in build mode is to change the lighting. You can do that by pressing the letter L on your keyboard, and I'm just going to press it one time. You will notice in the top center UI space there's a picture of a sun. It looks like sunrise. If I press it one time, it automatically goes to afternoon, and it's just brighter. It just makes it easier for me to see everything going on. Let's talk about the UI. So if you look in the top left corner, right next to the name of the property, there's a picture of a house with the letter I inside of it, and that's the lot information. So it gives us our lot type, which is residential. This is a home. We also have more options. So we now have tiny house residential. So if you wanted to do a tiny home, it has all of these different sub requirements based on how many tiles you can use. I'm currently way over the size of a tiny home, but if you have the tiny living pack, feel free to play around with those different tiers. It's really fun to challenge yourself. Also, there's other categories, of course, based on what packs you have. So there's things like bars, art centers, generic lots, which is pretty much a generic lot doesn't have a specific purpose. You can kind of use it for anything. There's other things like gyms, museums, national parks, vet clinics, university housing. So all of this will be determined on what DLC you have available, but some of the ones that come with base game are residential, pools, bars, gyms, libraries, lounges, the parks, and things like that. Next to the lot type option, there's the option to view this venue type in gallery. So if you didn't want to build your own house, you just kind of wanted to plop down something from the gallery, you can click on there and look through the different options that they have labeled under residential, and you can put it onto the lot just as long as it will fit on the lot. Under that, you will see things like lot value. So this is how much the house is worth. The funny thing about build and buy mode is that once you exit build and buy mode and go into the game, when you come back into build and buy, the items are worth less. So just keep that in mind. Items will depreciate over time. So the value system is kind of tricky. But this is how you know how much your house is worth. Also, you can determine how many bedrooms and bathrooms are in the house. So we have 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, so why not just put that in there? It gives a little bit more information, so when it's on the gallery, other people can know the different accommodations with this home. And you can also assign lot traits. So lot traits are things that makes your house just a little bit more unique, and a lot of the traits can they can have your Sims experience different buffs, also different perks. So breeding ground. For instance, this lot trait came with the cats and dogs pack. It increases the chances for pets to have larger pet litter. So it makes it more likely that your pet is going to have more offspring if this is a lot trait. Another one is Chef's Kitchen. So it says Chef's Kitchen. Food prepared in this kitchen will enhance your Sims' culinary skills. Look out for famous chefs. So basically, this will help your Sims with their cooking skills. So there's a bunch of different lot traits. Again, this is determined based on the DLC you have available, but this can make things just a little bit more interesting for your Sims, and it also makes your house or whatever lot you're building that much more unique. Moving on to the UI system, I reviewed all of this in the first tutorial, but I'll go over it quickly. This arrow means you're in selection mode, so you can pick things up and move it around. This is the eyedropper tool or the copying tool. This is the design tool or the recolor tool. This hammer is a sledgehammer, so that's how you delete objects. These two arrows, the one pointing to the left is to undo the last option. The one pointing to the right is to redo it. This folder with the arrow pointing in is how you would save your house to the library. And you have the option to save the whole lot or to save the room. It's grayed out because there's no room selected. If I was to say, for instance, to click on that space, you see how all of these little arrows and there's this white highlight around this area now. Now I have the option to save the room because I physically selected a particular room. This little cross arrows things here is how we can move the lot around itself, so we can move the building itself. So the enclosed space, that means to move the house. If we wanted to move the entire lot, so that's including the fence and this little walkway here. And if we had like greenery, trees, shrubs, and things like that outside, if we were to select the lot, we can move everything that's on this lot. This little bulldozer icon means to bulldoze, so to completely wipe out your lot. And again, this changes the natural lighting setting, so there's morning, afternoon, evening, and nighttime as your options. Going down to the actual UI of build and buy mode, we're currently in build mode, and we have that selected because this very top option with the enclosed house is highlighted. If we wanted to go into buy mode, that will be these next two items here. So there's objects by room and objects by function. The main difference is between the two is how you want to see the catalog. So objects by room allows you to see what items are typically found in a particular room. So right now the living room space is highlighted, and you will see some of the things that are typical for that space. So we have couches and love seats, we have chairs, accent tables, we also have things like paintings, floor lamps, televisions, fireplaces, statues, houseplants, curtains or window coverings. We also have rugs, coffee tables, audio, so things like your stereos and your radios. And we also have scratching posts and furniture for your pets. So it puts the things that you would typically find in the space in one big group, so you can visually see what usually goes in the area, and it takes out the guesswork of what you should add to a room. So this makes it really easy, and for visual people, this is definitely key. The next option to find your items in buy mode is objects by function. The object by function, categorize it by how you're going to use it. So by default, buy mode starts you at show all, so this shows you everything that's accessible in your catalog. And again, the things that are in here are based on the DLC that you have in your game. If you wanted to look for a subcategory to kind of niche everything down, You would click on the little bar, the dialog box, and it'll give you all of these categories. So things like comfort, those are like your beds, your chairs, your stools, poofs, ottomans, anything that you would sit or lay on, they're all in the comfort category. So once you choose a category, it gives you all of these little pictures which are sorted into smaller subcategories. Every category, it will have this infinity symbol, and this will just show you everything. So it won't have it separated out by its particular use. It will just have all of the comfort together. So whereas everything is based on a particular function, the kids category is a little bit different because it's based on a particular space. So these are all the things that you would see in a child's room. So we have miscellaneous decorations, such as like these wall stickers here. We have gnomes. We have these decorative books and rugs. So this is kind of a broad category, but if you're doing a child's room, this is probably going to help you out a ton because it has all of these different items in this one area. Also, it has all of the kids' furniture lumped together instead of just kids' beds, kids' seats, kids' ottomans, you know, like in our previous categories. The kids' furniture is kind of all lumped together. So we have the potty, we have high chairs, we have beds, chairs, bookcases. All of that is considered kids' furniture. Kids' toys is pretty self-explanatory. Kids' activities is kind of all lumped together as well. So we have activities that are for learning, like these different projects from the Parenthood pack. We also have things that are like books in here. We also have musical instruments and outdoor play equipment. All of that is kind of lumped into the kids' activities category. There's the toddler section, so there's like different toys and things that they can interact with that will help them with their imagination, social and learning skills. So definitely have fun with all of these. Also, transportation might sound a little strange since we don't have cars, but we do have bikes if you have the Discover University DLC. We also have some water vehicles if you have the Island Living DLC. So there are some items there. Storage also is a little weird. It's not as straightforward as some of the other categories, but storage typically consists of your book storage, like your bookcases and book shelving, and then your clothing storage, like your dressers, your closets, your clothing racks, and things like that. And then there's miscellaneous storage, like place where kids will store their toys, or lockers, which are typically found in like spas or gyms. We even have this cork board under storage, and what you can do is put your postcards on here. So how you get postcards is like you have a pen pal and you chat with them, and then they'll send you a postcard and you can put it on this board. We also have other types of storages, so like where you would put your trophies. This particular one came with the Jungle Adventure Pack. And then we also have like these vaults for where you would put your money. This came with the Get Famous pack. So yeah, just a bunch of different categories in here. Have fun and explore. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and decorate our space here. And then I'm going to talk about how to make items that are seemingly boring look a little bit more fashionable and a little bit more interesting. And I am going to use base game only for this tutorial. I'm going to pick out some very generic things, but I'm going to show you how to spice it up just a little bit. So I will be right back. Alright guys, so I am back. I did just a little bit of decorating in our living room and dining room space. And you know, it's not too shabby, but you know what, it looks a little basic if you ask me. A lot of the items are white by default, which there's nothing wrong with. However, it makes the house look a little bit one note and a little devoid of personality. So let me show you how to spice things up. So first of all, we're going to talk about how to recolor items. So as I mentioned, if you want to click on the option, it's in the top middle section of the UI, and it's this third option that looks like a bunch of color swatches, and it's called the design tool. The hotkey shortcut for it is the letter R. Click on your object with that option selected, and if it has different swatches, you can change it up and give it a completely new look. And that's one way to spice things up. So what I'm going to do is recolor every single object in here to add a little bit more personality. Alright you guys, and as you can see already, let me drop down one of the walls. Just by adding a little bit of color into this room, there's already so much more personality. It automatically feels a bit more tailored to your Sims's individual taste, whatever their taste may be. But yeah, it's no longer just like a showroom in a furniture store. It has a bit more personality. I was going for more of a warmer theme, so I have a lot of kind of orange, red, yellow, and brown tones in here. And it just feels like it brings a bit more life into the space. So that's one way. Another way to make your house not look so generic is by rotating your objects. And I don't have the move objects on. We'll get into that possibly in a later tutorial, but I'm going to show you how to rotate your objects. So what you're going to do is go back to the select tool or the letter H on your keyboard, and I've just clicked and selected an object. I'm selecting this chair, and how I'm rotating it is by using the period and comma keys. And just by putting it on an angle, it automatically looks like someone has sat in this chair. The chair is more focused towards the TV, so if there's like a show on TV or something premiering, your sim can be more engaged into what's going on in the TV. So yeah, that's one way just to add a bit more flair and pizzazz. I'm going to show you another way to rotate your items. So if you select it and hold down the Alt key, this allows you to free rotate at this point. You could put it at any point, 360 degrees. So if you just want a bit more customization, say for instance, I don't want it on that sharp of an angle, I want it like this. You know, it still gives it a little bit of movement. It makes it seem a bit more lived in, and it just adds a little something more than just when you pull it out of Catalogue and plop it into your space. So I'm going to rotate some items around the room, and then I'll come back and show you how much of a difference that makes. Okay, and we're back. So as you can see, it just makes the room a little bit more lived in. It doesn't look as perfect as it did before. Now some people may like the perfect symmetrical everything on a grid point look, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you just wanted to spice it up a little bit, give it a bit more movement and personality, consider rotating your objects around to make your space look a bit more lived in and a bit more not so perfect. You have to be careful if you don't have the move objects on cheats, because sometimes when you rotate things, it could say that it no longer fits in a space. So what I did from there, while still holding down the Alt key, I just moved it up a little bit. That way it didn't snap to a point like it does by default, and I was able to have a bit more of free reign with that as well. So anyway, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and decorate the rest of our house, and then we'll come back and recap everything we went over in this part. Alright, you guys, before I finish the rest of the house, let's talk about the kitchen. There are some things that I want to just mention. So by default in your counters, this is what they look like. They are one tile wide, and it's just a typical counter. You may notice that this piece in the corner looks a little bit different from these two here. How I was able to get that piece is that if you go, once you choose your counter and you click on the swatches, you get additional options here for what type of counter piece you want. So there's left in inner corner, which is what this particular piece is. This is the tile, which is the default counter, the outer corner, and then the right end piece. That's how you get these extra shapes that kind of snap together. If you don't see it, that would mean that your automatic counter placement is on. And by it automatically being on, that means that it will automatically try to decide how the pieces are going to snap together based on what's next to the counter. But if you want a little bit more freedom and you want to see all of those pieces individually, in the swatches there's these little gears here, and you can toggle on and off. So basically, if it's on, that means the game is automatically deciding how your countertops are going to fit together. If it's off, that means you have the freedom to pick the pieces that you want to individually use. So I did want to mention that. Also in the kitchen, in order for it to really function, you want to make sure that one of your countertops has is empty or has enough space for your Sims to prepare a meal on. A lot of the meals, the Sims will do an interaction or an animation rather, where they would chop up things on a cutting board. So you have to make sure that you have a tile or enough tile space for your Sims to be able to do that, or else a lot of items in the menu, your Sims won't be able to cook because they don't have that surface to prepare on. Unfortunately, Sims, they won't like mix and chop up things on a dining room table. You have to have a counter or an island piece with that space so your Sims can prepare the food on. So that's another thing I wanted to throw out there. I'm going to finish with the house and then we'll recap once I'm done. Alright, you guys, so I have pretty much furnished the house, giving you a little bit of overhead view to show you everything that we have done on the inside thus far. I'm pretty satisfied with it so far. Each room feels like it has a bit more personality, and don't forget to spice it up by putting things on different angles and also recoloring your items. You're not tied to what the default is. You can definitely spice it up and make it more tailored to your personality. So everything that we have covered, we covered how to find objects in by mode based on objects by room, which groups everything based on a particular room they're commonly found at in real life, and also objects by function, which are grouped by how the items are used. We also talked about putting items on angles using the period and comma keys for rotation. We also talked about how to free rotate objects. We talked about how to add a bit more personality into your builds by using the recolor tool. We also covered some of the hotkeys, and we talked about the cabinets and how they snap together by default, and how to have a bit more free range with these rotation objects. So anyway, you guys, I hope this was helpful. Give me a big thumbs thumbs up if you learned something new from this tutorial, or if you got a refresher, definitely let me know. Also, if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. That way you never miss an upload from me. Also, don't forget to like, comment, and share this video. It helps me and the channel out more than you know. Feel free to check out other things that I've created on the gallery. My origin ID is simply Nisey. And if you're interested in seeing more thumbnails and things about my personal life, feel free to follow me down on my social medias, which are always linked down in the description box below. Again, you guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye, guys.